million. 1.2 million.
Okay, we are,
Same link?
yeah, same meeting, same link. So we are now live streaming. We are on, so.
Yeah.
Close Zoom.
Oh, Vicky, okay. I heard. Oh, no.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry for the delay. We were scheduled to start at 4, but we had some technical difficulties. I believe we are live streaming now. This is our budget revision hearing, public hearing. So it will be available or is available on YouTube, our YouTube channel live stream. It will be saved there so people can watch it later, and it will be the link can be forwarded to Facebook so people can watch it there as well. We have board member Tommy McCabe and board member Bessie Allen here available, but because this is a public hearing and no action will be taken, we don't need a quorum at this time. So we can proceed and call this to order. And I am making, we are on the,
Hold on.
Bessie, we're on the,
I'm in a board meeting right now. Let me, hold on. If you don't. No.
so John, you're the co-host, you can start
It
presenting.
doesn't work like that. Board meetings agenda are at least 36 hours in advance. Let me talk to, have you talked to one of them? They're here.
We're live in the meeting right now though, so go ahead, John, and make co-host.
Okay.
Okay.
Just hold on then,
So-
let me mention it. Okay.
Okay, you're
Just
on,
speaking names.
All right.
so,
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
What I'm presenting right now is the Pinyon Unified School District
They can start
budget
with, public hearing.
hearing for budget revision for school year 2020. Okay, this budget revision is going to be the first of the school year. There was one originally scheduled to be December 15th. But because we didn't exceed our original projection by December 15th, we didn't need to do budget revision in December, so our only
Budget revision is now.
May.
What we included in this budget revision is our, did my audio go on?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay. What was included in this budget revision is our CARE Act funding. And also we had an increase in student enrollment, which increased our budget capacity on M&O. So our changes to the budget revision for the state funding side, M&O, we had an increase in student count. Originally, we were projecting $7.8 million due to the increased enrollment by our 100th day count in January. We have an increased funding of $479,601 with a total revision amount of M&O to $8.328,459. I'm sorry. So this is a budget breakdown of how the calculations were made. Our federal revenue control limit went up 136,000. Our DAA, district additional assistance, went up $167. And then our budget carry forward from last school year is about 452,000. And then our Prop 123 didn't increase at all, totaling of $477,614 for this school year. So our maintenance and operation budget includes override. We don't get desegregation. We do get Prop 123, our budget balance carry forward. We don't get tuition, warrant expense, non-federal, we don't, additional teacher assistance transfer we didn't do, and no small school adjustments. Small school adjustments only for schools of 250 or less. So our DAA, everything was based on our 100-day ADM count. So there was an increase in enrollment. Like originally we were projecting a flat enrollment. We weren't projecting, we based it on the lowest amount, and luckily we received about 50 additional students, resulting in about $500,000. And Prop 123 does go on to another 5 years, but this did increase some of our funding for this school year. And then there's also another increase of $70 per student beginning in 2021, 2022. And this is a voter initiative. So the only way this can change is if this vote is taken to the state and all citizens with the state of Arizona vote to abolish this. So right now, this is enacted into law to 2025. The only thing with Prop 123 is this is based on the January budget numbers. So before COVID hit, this Prop 123 showed there was an increase in Arizona's revenue. So we do have more revenue coming in for next school year. But what the state was saying, this is probably going to affect us next school year in 2021, 2022. So by January 2021, if the state of Arizona doesn't show an increase in revenue, and again, if it's a negative amount, which they're projecting due to COVID, then this doesn't go into effect next school year. Basically, that's in part of the law. So next school year, 2021 to 2022, we could not, it's possible we won't have Prop 123. Okay, here's our M&O and impact aid and the CARE funding. Before this budget hearing was submitted, we originally didn't have the CARE Act funding, but within the last week, the state of Arizona did figure out the calculations, the disbursements for all the public schools within the state. And they were telling us to do 70% of our Title I funding. So we get about $1 million in Title I funding, and we just did 70%. So that's $700,000. And the CARE Act funding, I included a slide show from the state on what that can be used for. That has a broad spectrum of uses. Basically, anything that we can spend our school budget funding on for M&O and impact aid is what we can use our CARE Act funding for. And this is in lieu of the COVID outbreak. So whatever our school district wants to do to increase student outreach, to increase, I guess, like technology needs for the district, things that we saw we can't handle right now, we can put under this CARE Act funding from the federal government. So our impact aid, this is our current spending amount. We have spent, or we have encumbered and spent 8.3 million. I'm sorry, that's our budget revision, 8.3 million. In our impact aid, we're budgeting 8 million, totaling 16.3 million originally. What we have left, what we have spent is we have 703,000 left in M&O. We overspent impact aid by $500,000. That leaves 177,000 left. And then our CARE Act funding is 700,000, so we add that on. That gives us 877,000 for a grand total of M&O and impact aid of $17,028,459. for this school year. And yeah,
On the last slide, can you explain that negative 532, 256, that when we say overspent, we've just coded things there that need to be coded other places, correct?
Correct.
Right.
So impact aid is our umbrella.
that we're able to put a majority of our spending under. And this is also our encumbered amount. We haven't taken out like a lot of field trips, a lot of sporting events, a lot of all that stuff is still encumbered, is still held in the budget. Once we take all those out and subtract them out of there, I believe we will be okay. But right now we overspent, so we're at 8.5 million that we have encumbered and spent, both of them combined in impact aid. But we can code those under CARE Act, we can move those under M&O. So there's a lot of ways we can shift that money around. It's just because impact aid is the easiest, the quickest to use, we can put it there and then we can move them into our M&O. But we're still sitting good overall. We have 877,304 in the plus that we can look to use in other ways. And then our average teacher salary, prior year was 45,000. That was our average teacher salary last school year. This school year, what we budgeted is approximately 46,000 per teacher. This is going to increase quite a bit next school year due to salary raises. But right now, our average teacher salary is 46,388. And this does include all the stipends and extra earnings that the teachers receive, like Prop 301 and everything that's calculated into that. So this will have a significant boost due to the board's actions of raising teacher salaries for next school year. So you can just see that beginning in FY 2018, we had 43,000 average teacher salary. That went up 3,000 just in 2 years. And I'm guessing it'll probably go up another 3,000 just in this coming school year. And that's it. That's basically the budget breakdown. So I don't know if we're taking questions on the chat comment box or anything.
Part of it, but if board members have questions, board member McCabe's on and board member Allen's here. So if there's questions, now would be the time to ask.
Tommy, do you have a question?
I guess the only question I have is that the 500,000, how do we overspend? And then the other thing is, John was saying that there's still a lot of things that are over in the encumbrance side. I'm just wondering why those haven't been paid out. He's saying that some of the trips haven't been paid, and I'm just wondering what he's waiting for those to be paid out.
It's because they didn't happen. A lot of the spring trips didn't happen. So they're encumbered, but we made POs for them, but they never happened. So they're just sitting there. So we got to clear those out.
Okay. On those trips, did the sponsors cancel in time, or did they go ahead and honor the pandemics?
Yeah, we canceled them all in time. Like the Denver trips, all our athletic trips, we were refunded from IAIA.
Okay. Once those encumbrance are finalized, that 500,000 will be hopefully positive.
Yeah, we actually have about 1.2 million in impact aid that's POs encumbered.
Uh,
And I'm guessing most of that is just going to go away because it never happened.
okay.
Yeah. So we should
Alright.
be in a positive on that side too.
All right. Yeah, because I know Impact Aid, I think pays a year behind, and we're okay next year. It's going to be the following year.
Yep.
So I'm just wondering. I'm just making sure in 2 years we're going to be okay. We won't
Yeah.
have to.
And I believe the board budget had about, and your travel and supply budget had an additional 15,000 unspent, which we applied to supplies for the schools. That would have been like your NAFIS trip, all your ASBA trips coming up, all those POs that were scheduled. We're just going to move those to school supplies.
Okay. Sounds good. All right then.
And I just want to draw your attention. Where we put the CARE Act funding is on page 6 of the budget worksheet. So we budget that under this one. Other federal projects, we increased that by 700,000. It was really 250,000. We increased that to 950,000. So that's where the CARE Act funding would go under. Yeah. Yeah, the on the webinar ASBA had, they said it works just like impact aid funding. If you school district receives it as receive impact aid funding, you can use it like impact aid funding. But if your school district doesn't receive impact aid funding, you have to follow the M&O guidance. So for us, we can follow the impact aid guidance. The public hearing is adjourned at 4:34 Mountain Daylight Time.